What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we are going to be discussing the Johan Santana trade, which occurred back on February 2nd, 2008. Now, this was a trade between the New York Mets and the Minnesota Twins that saw starting pitcher Johan Santana, who had been one of the best pitchers in baseball for the previous 3 years, traded to the Mets in exchange for 4 players. Now, basically, the Mets were in the market for a top-tier starting pitcher to anchor their pitching staff. As the offseason continued to progress, fans and the media alike were waiting for the Mets to finally make a move and strike. And then, in late January, this blockbuster deal was announced. However, the deal was held back for a few days as Santana did have a no-trade clause, and he did have a tough time negotiating a new contract with the Mets. Part of this deal was he had to get a new contract with the Mets, otherwise he was going to walk after 1 year, or he could walk after 1 year. So how did this deal work out? We will start by discussing the New York Mets, who got starting pitcher Johan Santana. Now, Santana had another elite season in 2008, as he ended the year with a 16-7 record, 206 strikeouts, and a league best 2.53 ERA, while also leading the league with 234 and a third innings pitched. Now, he would finish the season third in NL Cy Young voting. After the year, it was announced that he had pitched for some time on a torn meniscus in his left knee, so he had to undergo surgery, and he surprisingly was able to return for the start of the 2009 season. And he played well in 2009 as well, as he would go 13-9 with a 3.13 ERA and 146 strikeouts. Now, he did have his season end early in late August, so he missed the last month of the year, after undergoing surgery to address bone chips in his left elbow. So at this point, 2 years, 2 pretty serious injuries, but only a month missed. So not horrible. Now, unfortunately for him, he was rocky in 2010, as he did have a couple of bad starts that really just messed up his numbers. All things considered, he played well before he got hurt for the 3rd year in a row, as he did end the year with a 2.98 ERA and an 11-9 record. But, unfortunately, the shoulder injury that entered his 2010 campaign early forced him to miss the entirety of the 2011 season. Now, unfortunately for him too, when he returned for 2012, he started off that year slow, although he did end up rebounding well. Now, on June 1st, against the St. Louis Cardinals, Johan Santana did throw a no-hitter for the team. However, towards the end of July, he would sprain his ankle, suffering yet another injury. Shortly after returning, he suffered a back injury, which officially ended his season. Now, unfortunately for him once more, yet another injury struck when, prior to 2013, he would tear his shoulder capsule for the 2nd time. This would force him to miss the entirety of the 2013 season. After this, the Mets decided, you know what, too many injuries, talented player, too many injuries, so they would buy out his contract. All said and done, he was a one-time All-Star. He led the league in ERA one time, and he did throw a no-hitter as well. Not the best, but far, far, far from the worst. I mean, all things considered, Santana was amazing when he was healthy. But injuries just completely ruined his career, derailed his career. Now, how did the Minnesota Twins do in this deal? Now, obviously, Minnesota being a small market team, usually when it comes time to a big-name free agent, potential free agent, they have to trade him. So that's why they made this deal. So they got 4 players, and the first one we're going to look at is outfielder Carlos Gomez. Now, Gomez had a solid year in 2008, as he would hit .258 with 33 stolen bases. However, his play regressed a bit in 2009, as he only hit .229 with 14 stolen bases. As a result, the Twins decided, you know what, let's cut our ties and try to get something out of him, so they would flip him in a one-on-one deal with the Milwaukee Brewers to get shortstop J.J. Hardy. Now, Hardy would miss part of the 2010 season due to injury, but he still played well over the 101 games he would appear in. He would hit .268, but he was more known for his strong defense than his, home runs or anything like that. However, after the year was over, he was traded to the Baltimore Orioles in a swap of 2 hitters for 2 pitchers. Now, the Twins would get, obviously, a reliever named Jim Hoey, and Hoey would appear in 26 games in a single season, having an ERA of 5.47 before he was waived. They would also get pitcher Brett Jacobson. Now, Jacobson would spend parts of 2 years in Double-A, but after that, he would be released. Far from the best deal for Minnesota. Same with this one. Now, Minnesota also got 3 more players from the Mets in the original Johan Santana trade, all 3 of whom were pitchers. The first one we will look at is reliever Philip Humber. Now, Humber would start the 08 season in the minors, but he would get called up in August. He played decently in a relief role, and then he would make the team in 2009. However, he would struggle and get demoted. He would be called up for a little bit in the summer, but he still would struggle, and after that season, he was allowed to walk. So, not the best, as he had a combined ERA of 6.10 for the Twins. Next, we have reliever Deolis Guerrera. Now, Guerrera, he would spend 7 years in the minors for Minnesota. However, he never made it to the major league level for the team. He was young when they got him. He was an international prospect. They had hoped that he could turn into, a potential great player, but he just spent too long to develop for them. Lastly, they also got pitcher Kevin Mulvey. Now, Mulvey would allow 4 runs in 1 1/3 innings for the team before he would be waived. So, clearly, Minnesota made some mistakes in this deal, and it gets worse when we look at the 2 secondary teams. We're going to start off with the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Brewers would get outfielder Carlos Gomez. Gomez had a solid 2010 season. However, he spent the year in a platoon role. But for 2011, he ended up earning the starting job. But, as luck would have it, he would suffer a broken collarbone, which forced him to miss a chunk of the year. Finally, in 2012, he was able to break out. He took the starting center field job and he just ran with it. And 2013 was another massive year for Gomez, as he would hit .284 with career highs in stolen bases with 40, home runs with 24, as well as triples and RBIs. So he was clearly thriving as a full-time starter. He would have yet another great season in 2014, as he continued to be a valuable asset for the Brewers. He did cool off a little bit to start the 2015 season, and this would actually end up to him being traded. Now, this trade was previously discussed in the Hunter Pence trade, which will be linked below, and it will be looked at once more in a future Josh Hader video, as Hader was a part of that trade to get Gomez to Houston. So that will be discussed probably, I don't even know when. It's going to be a little bit. So, yeah, all said and done though, Gomez was a 2-time All-Star, 1-time Gold Glove winner, and he is a member of the Milwaukee Brewers Wall of Honor. Lastly, we have the Baltimore Orioles. So the Orioles got a pair of hitters from Minnesota, the first of whom was shortstop J.J. Hardy. Now, Hardy had a very strong season in 2011 for the Orioles, which put him back on the radar. He hit a career-best 30 homers that year. Now, as could be expected, he did regress slightly in 2012, but he did manage to win his first career Gold Glove, finally getting over that hump. He had a career year in 2013. He would hit .263 with 25 homers, and he would win yet another Gold Glove. And then, in 2014, he continued to play well, as he would hit .268, but his home run total dropped to 9 as he did deal with some back injuries that kind of limited his power. He struggled in 2015, although he did rebound well in 2016. But after another bad year in 2017, he was allowed to walk. He was a 1-time All-Star, 1-time Silver Slugger, a 3-time Gold Glover, and he's a member of the Orioles Hall of Fame. Now lastly, the Orioles also got infielder Brandon Harris, and Harris would spend a single year in AAA before walking. So now we have the fun part, unless you're a Twins fan, for this one in particular. We look at the WARs. So the Mets obviously win the original trade, getting a 15.3 WAR out of Johan Santana. The Twins got a combined 3.0 WAR, mostly due to Carlos Gomez and J.J. Hardy. Everyone else combined for negative. As for the secondary teams, Milwaukee is actually the true winner of this deal, getting an 18.9 WAR out of Gomez, not to mention, the potential haul that they get with Josh Hader and all that. And Baltimore got a 15.7 as well, putting them also ahead of the Mets. All in all, very important trade in MLB history. If you're a Twins fan, I feel for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day.